Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons. My name is Justin, and I'm going to be your guide to bringing your favorite League of Legends champions to life in Dungeons and Dragons. Today we're building Ahri, the nine-tailed fox. Ahri is the last of the Vistani tribe of Vistaya. The memories of her past are scattered, with her earliest memories being running with ice foxes in the northern reaches of Ionia. Her unique version of Vistayan magic allows her to steal the life essence of mortal beings like a vampire. Among some of the stolen essence, she found memories of the Vistaya, which let Ahri know she wasn't alone and there were more of her kind out there somewhere. Ahri found out about Zaya's rebellion and is now seeking her out, hoping to help restore the Vistaya to their former glory. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. Happy 2 years! It's been an awesome run, and I just wanted to take a second and thank all of you for sticking with me along the journey. We've come a long way, and I can't wait to see what this next year has in store for us. Speaking of thank yous, I'd like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and the charms flying. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. For race, we're going with Autumn Eladrin. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max Charisma and dump Strength. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in Charisma. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 5 in Sorcerer, and then going straight Bard for the rest of the build. Ahri's passive, Essence Theft, is going to be the Cure Wounds spell. Her Q, Orb of Deception, is going to come from Chromatic Orb. Our W, Foxfire, will be Melf's Minute Meteors and Magic Missile. Her E, Charm, will come from Command and Mantle of Majesty. And finally, we get our ultimate, Spirit Rush, from Scorching Ray and Tempestuous Magic. For race, we're going with Autumn Eladrin. That's going to start us off with a +2 Dexterity and a +1 to Charisma. We're also going to have our Fey Ancestry to give us advantage on our saves against being charmed, and we're immune to magical sleep. Also, you're able to skip long resting by entering a 4-hour trance instead. Plus, our keen senses are going to give us proficiency in perception. And our final feature is going to be a cool way to do our Flash E called Fey Step. At 3rd level, we can teleport up to 30 feet as a bonus action, and force 2 creatures within 10 feet of where you land to make a Wisdom save or be charmed for a minute. For background, we're going with Hermit. Ahri's life has been mainly one of seclusion, with her fears of her essence vampirism keeping her away from others as much as possible. This will give us proficiency with Medicine Religion and the Discovery feature. This is something you need to work on with your DM, but if you're playing as Ahri, just let it be something that leads you to Zaya or to wanting to find your lost Vistani tribe. For stats, we're going for the balance Riot is hoping to achieve with this mini rework with the standard array. Roll if you want to, but keep at least a 13 in Charisma for multiclassing purposes. Speaking of Charisma, we'll take that as a 15 here for her Charm and Allure. Dexterity is going to be next for her lithe movements and quick dashes. Constitution will be after that for our concentration on our charms and whatnot. Wisdom will be next for her lived experiences. We'll have an average intelligence and dump strength. And since we don't have any equipment to worry about, we'll jump right into the class levels with the Sorcerer. Sorcerers have a d6 hit die and give us proficiency with Arcana and Persuasion. We're going to choose our Sorceress Origin, which is the source of our powers. Now we're going with Storm Sorcery again with this build for that awesome Tempestuous Magic. That's going to let us use our bonus action to propel ourselves with a gust of wind 10 feet before or after we cast a first level or higher spell. This is going to give us the dash on our ult. I'll explain more at level 3 when we get Scorching Ray. We'll also get Wind Speaker, which will let us learn the Primordial Language. Also, our spellcasting comes online at this level, giving us access to some important first level spells. We'll pick up our Q with Chromatic Orb. This is going to let you hurl an orb of fire that'll deal 3d8 fire damage if you land the spell attack roll. And we'll also gain the early version of our W with Magic Missile. You create 3 magical flares, and they fly off towards your target, dealing 1d4 plus 1 force damage. Second level sorcerers gain Font of Magic, giving us a pool of sorcery points to use. Right now, these points can only be used as a way to exchange and recharge our spell slots, but starting next level, they'll power our meta magic options. Speaking of meta magic, level 3 sorcerers gain their meta magic options, which are basically just cool ways to spend your sorcery points and augment our spells in certain ways. Now the only one relevant here is the twin spell meta magic, which will allow you to get the piercing flavor on your Q by allowing you to target an additional creature within range at the cost of 2 sorcery points. For flavor purposes, I'd stick to lining up the creatures since your orb generally goes in a straight line, but feel free to ignore that if you just want to smash. Level 3 sorcerers also learn second level spells. We'll get the damaging portion of our ult with Scorching Ray, which will create 3 rays of fire we make spell attack rolls with. That'll deal 2d6 fire damage per hit. So the combo will work like this. You'll bonus action Tempestuous Magic and dash 10 feet towards your target. Then, as your action, you'll fire off the Scorching Rays, wrecking them. And because these spell levels are so low, you'll have plenty of spell slots to do this quite often in combat, meaning you can basically ult every single turn. 4th level sorcerers get the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we'll break down all of your choices here so you can pick and choose along the way. At Sorcerer 4, we'll turn up the heat with Elemental Adept Fire, letting us ignore resistance to fire damage, and bumping all of our 1s on our fire damage die to 2s instead. At Bard 4, we'll pick up Warcaster because we apparently can't make a caster without this feat. Also, having advantage on our W and Charm concentration checks is important, and being able to cast spells for our opportunity attacks is nice. And finally, at Bard 8 and 12, we'll max our Charisma with 2 points at each level. Level 5 sorcerers learn 3rd level spells. We'll pick up the better version of our W with Melf's Minute Meteors. This will let you create 6 tiny meteors to float around you, that you can spend a bonus action to fling at people, dealing 2d6 fire damage if they fail their dex save. It's not as instantaneous as our W in-game, but it's still pretty cool. Now we'll switch over to Bard to grab our passive and our E and then crank up our charms to 1000. Bards have a d8 hit die and give us proficiency with Deception. We also get the Bard's bread and butter ability, their Bardic Inspiration, which is a pool of scaling die, starting as d6s, which we can dole out as a bonus action for our teammates to use to add to any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw they need to make. We also get our 1st level Bard spells, and there are a handful here. We'll also grab our E with the Command spell. Command lets us say one word and force a Wisdom save on the creature. If they fail, they must heed the command on their next turn. The spell lists some examples, and Approach is one of them. It literally makes the creature walk towards you, in the shortest, most direct route, and halts when they're within 5 feet of you. It's a perfect version of her E. Cure Wounds is just a heal we can use on ourselves that'll restore 1d8 plus our Charisma mod. Use this once we've gained enough Spirit Essence, just like our new passive. And finally, we'll get Disguise Self, to try and cover all of the skins this champion has. The spell lasts for an hour and lets us completely change our appearance. Same body configuration is required, but this will easily let you swap from KDA Ahri to Foxfire Ahri and everywhere in between. 2nd level Bards become Jack of all trades, letting us use half our proficiency bonus towards any skill we're not already proficient in. We also learn the Song of Rest, letting you boost short rest healing when you or an ally spend hit die. When they do, we can restore an extra 1d6 hit points. Level 3 Bards gain Expertise and choose their Bard College. Expertise lets us double our proficiency bonus. We'll use it to enhance our knowledge of Orvestein magic with Arcana Expertise, and improve our charming behavior with Persuasion Expertise. For our Bard College, we'll enhance Ahri's allure with the College of Glamour. This will give us the Mantle of Inspiration and enthralling performance features. Mantle of Inspiration will let us use our Bardic Inspiration die to give our allies 5 temporary hit points and the ability to burn their reaction to move their speed without provoking opportunity attacks. This is basically Karma's empowered E, but doesn't really match Ahri. Enthralling Performance is like a 1 minute long version of her E, letting you force a Wisdom save on a creature that you spend at least a minute attempting to charm. If they fail, they're charmed and idolize you and won't do anything to harm you unless the effect is ended early. Keep this in mind, because at Bard 6, we'll get a way to really take advantage of this charm. Level 5 Bards gain Font of Inspiration, which means our Bardic Inspiration die recharge on a short rest rather than a long rest. 6th level Bards get Counter Charm and the Mantle of Majesty. Counter Charm is an action you can take to give your allies advantage on saves to shake off a frightened or charmed effect. Mantle of Majesty is a Glamour Bard feature that's going to let you turn your beauty dial to 11 for a minute. While that's active, you can cast the Command spell, which is your E, remember, as a bonus action and without a spell slot. And any creature that's already charmed by you automatically fails the saving throw. meaning for that minute, you can eat your enemies every single turn. 10th level bards learn expertise and magical secrets. We don't need any magical secrets here, so feel free to pick and choose what you'd like. For our second round of expertise though, we'll enhance our deception and perception. And finally, 14th level glamour bards gain unbreakable majesty, permanently granting you an otherworldly appearance that makes you lovely and fierce. I think the weebs would agree Ahri had this feature from Inception, but hey, now it's official. On top of that, you can use your bonus action to transform for a minute, forcing a charisma save on each creature the first time they try to attack you. If they fail, they have to choose a new target for their attack, and if they do make the save, they have disadvantage on any of your spell saves on your next turn. And I think you know who's going to have an E coming their way afterwards. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First the good. We're fully online with this build by level 6, and it only gets better and better from there. On top of that, if your DM doesn't start adjusting their creatures' stat blocks for wisdom, all of their NPCs are going to be eating out of your hand and getting dumpstered by you and your party. Now the bad. Depending on your setting and enemies, fire damage immunities can be common, meaning our entire damage profile can be ignored. Speaking of enemies giving us a bad time, anyone who can throw off our charms, like other fake creatures or our fellow Vistaya, are going to get annoying real quick. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.